Samsung has just released their brand new Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge, but did they fuck up? Alright folks, before we jump into today's video, I just want to give a special shout out to my friend Jonathan from TLD. He went up there to San Francisco and checked all that stuff out because you guys all know I'm injured and still laying here in my butt. But he got some great footage and there's a lot of cool things about these new phones from Samsung. But first off, you got to pretty much anything that you've ever known about these phones as far as the design and all that stuff, you pretty much have to just toss it out the window and expect something totally different. Now these phones are made totally different, obviously, than any of the previous generations. These are like a trifecta. It's kind of like the Galaxy S5, the iPhone 4, and the iPhone 6 were all thrown into a blender and you blend them together and you came out with, hey, the new Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge. Now these things are made out of aluminum and glass and they look totally cool. Actually looks like one of the best phones that you're going to see probably this year, just as far as design goes. Now I know Samsung in the past seems like they've failed in some of their design areas. People have always complained, oh, they're not up to par to all the new stuff. Well, they've taken drastic measures to actually make these phones, close that gap. Now with all that said, there are two things though that stand out that are going to make users out there just go, what in the hell is Samsung thinking? And that is no more removable battery. That's right. So for those people out there who dug the fact of being able to have that portability, remove a battery and stick a new one in, you're not going to have that. Now, to me personally, I don't care about that feature. I've actually never taken my battery out of my phone. In fact, got my S5 right here. I take one of those little portable chargers around with me and I just plug the thing into that and away I go. But for some people out there, they're going to say, I want nothing to do with that phone. And that's your choice. Now, the next one is though, no expandability as far as memory or anything else. So you can't stick an SD card in there and get some more expandability. What you're going to get though is that they're 32 gigabytes right off the bat. All new models though have 32 gigabytes of onboard memory instead of the original 16 on the previous generation. So what do you guys think? Is the new design worth sacrificing those features? Let us know down below in the comments. Now though, let's talk about some of the really cool features of these new phones. Now first of all, they each have a 5.1 AMOLED screen, and that amounts to 2560 by 1440 resolution. That's really high pixel density and a really tiny screen. Think about this. Most big old monitors have that resolution, so you're going to get that same resolution in a 5-inch screen. So it's going to look really clear. Another great thing is one-handed use. As far as one-handed use goes, my friend from TLD said that he would actually sacrifice and give up his iPhone. That's like saying give his mom away for Christmas almost. Like he's willing to sacrifice his iPhone to have that. So that's obviously a really great feature. Being able to have the phone in one hand, look at it, operate everything on it, that's actually pretty cool. Some phones are too big, some are too small, but this one's kind of like that story about the three bears. This one's just right. Now the new Galaxy S6 and the S6 Edge feature a lot of the same features. They both have an 8-core processor, they both feature a 16 megapixel camera, they both have 3 gigabytes of RAM, and they both come with Android 5.0 Lollipop. They also all have the same 5.1 screen, which features that 2560 by 1440 resolution. Now the Edge, just like the name implies, has 2 edges on each side, unlike the standard Galaxy S6. Now the cool thing about the Edge is that it gives you notifications, shows you the time, and it has a couple different modes. It has night mode, which offers lower screen resolution and lower, obviously, brightness, and this helps conserve battery life. So you can also set it when you roll your finger across it so it actually brights up to the normal thing. Another really cool feature about the Edge, and this actually really is a cool feature, is that you can know if your phone is facing down who calls you by this color lighting up on the side of the phone. Check this out. This looks really cool. So if your mom's calling you, family, friend, or whatever, you can actually set them up via your contacts, and when the phone rings, it'll ring in that color. Also, when it gives you a message, it'll show you that color. So you set up to red. If you know that's that asshole that you don't want to talk to is calling you up, you can just totally ignore it. And if it's green, it's mom, you know to pick up that phone. Earlier in the video, I talked about batteries. Now, the Galaxy S6 standard has a 2550 milliamp battery, and the Edge has a 2600 milliamp battery. Now, this isn't going to really result, though, at all in the Edge having better battery life. In fact, battery life in these things isn't that well at all. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but it basically just balances out. Due to the fact you have that Edge and that extra screen, well, obviously that's going to take up more battery power, true? So to compensate with that, they've given the Edge a little bit bigger battery. Now, one thing that my friend Jonathan touched on about the video is that one of the technologies that doesn't seem to really be advancing is battery life. I mean, in all actuality, with my thinking, every phone that I've actually got from Samsung, the battery life just keeps getting worse. And I'm not even joking about this at all. My original one I had awesome stuff. I had the Note 2. That damn thing would literally last me 3 days without a charge. I'm charging this every day, and it seems like with the new one, if I get it, I might be charging twice a day. So that's a technology that really needs to be worked on. And I guess it's true. They keep trying to make the phones, you know, thinner and thinner and thinner, so they can fit in your pocket. You guys all saw the big ass Bengate thing with Lou out there and all that shit. But maybe having a little bit bigger phone with a longer battery life would be something to seriously think about. Both the Galaxy S6 and the S6 Edge both feature a 16 megapixel rear-facing camera. Now this is the same as previous generations, but there are some new features. A much wider aperture allows for a lot more light to enter into the camera, which allows for better close-up pictures and a more blurred background, as well as those low light situations, you'll get a much clearer picture. Now the front-facing camera is also improved as well. It's gone from a 2 megapixel to a 5 megapixel with all those same features. One complaint that people had on the previous generation Galaxy phones was the ability to quickly access the camera. Now all you have to do is double click the home button from anywhere and you're instantly into your camera. Another really cool feature is tracking autofocus. Now what this allows you to do, it actually allows you to track the person while they're moving and still keep them in focus. Here you guys can see Lamar Wilson as we're tracking him, and you guys can see this feature works pretty well. I was thinking about maybe doing a music video with the camera and seeing how well it would actually do that, and locking on to musicians actually moving around with their instruments and just seeing how well it works. Now folks, before I bounce out of here, I want to talk about a feature that I think is actually really great, and a lot of you probably out there will agree, and this is multitasking. Now both the new phones have this. There's no difference between the two. Now if you go into your recent apps menu, you guys can see there's a screen on top, but if you scroll down below that, you can actually open a second screen. So not only can you access one thing, but now you can access two within that apps menu. That's a serious improvement for people who like to do more than one thing at once. This is a great feature. So I'm Elric. You guys have been watching Tech of Tomorrow. This has been the video just pretty much introducing the brand new Galaxy S6 and the Galaxy S6 Edge. All the information will be down below. I want to send a special thanks out once again to my friend Jonathan from TLD for making it possible to use the footage from his video. So thank you, Jonathan. We'll see you guys back here on Tech of Tomorrow. Me and Buddy the dog are out to have some fun. See ya!